I take repeal of the ACA very personal because it has afforded more than 20 million people, hundreds of thousands in North Carolina health insurance who otherwise would not have had it. 90% of the American people today are now insured. That's the highest rate on record. And so the Affordable Care Act was intended to expand the opportunities for Americans to get affordable health insurance. And for those who cannot afford it, there's a subsidy in place to help them acquire the insurance. There's a Medicaid expansion piece, which helps low-income adults without children to get access to health care. And so for the Republicans to come in as a political maneuver and to say, we're going to repeal this program without any replacement, we're going to kick 20 million people out of their insurance, is irresponsible, is reckless, and Democrats have already vowed, and we met yesterday, we have vowed we're going to fight it with every fiber in our body to keep it from happening. And now the Republicans are reaching out to us, and one in particular asked me yesterday if I would meet with a group today of Republicans to see if there is an alternative to the Affordable Care Act. Well, as far as I'm concerned, we can have an alternative. You can call it Trump Care. I don't care what you call it, but you cannot repeal the protections of the Affordable Care Act, and we're going to fight it every step of the way.
Do you think the public is finally awakened? There's been obviously a lot of distortions and misinformation about this from the beginning, from the Tea Party and the Koch brothers and other groups, but now it seems like that with the threat of it being repealed, that the general public is finally realizing what we have here.
Yes, I think the reality is setting in. There was a survey done in Kentucky, I guess about a year ago. Kentucky doesn't call it the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare. They have a fancy name for it in Kentucky. And Kentucky is a Republican state that expanded the Medicaid program. And when questioned, a majority of the respondents in Kentucky said that their program was a good thing. And then the question was reversed. Well, what do you think about Obamacare? And the same respondents answered overwhelmingly in opposition to the act because they misunderstood the difference between Obamacare and the program in Kentucky. And the fact is that they are the same programs. And so that tells me that so many people are hung up on the fact that President Obama was the impetus behind passing the Affordable Care Act, and much of the opposition is related to the person and not to the policy. But now that the reality is setting in, I think Republicans are acutely aware that they cannot repeal this law without a comparable replacement, and that's where Republicans are divided. They're going to remain divided because there are some over there who don't believe in providing health care for any Americans, including Medicare, I might say. And so I predict that the Affordable Care Act is here to stay. They're going to try to chip away at it. They're going to start the process in a few weeks to try to chip away at it. But when it gets over to the Senate, we've got some strong senators who are ready to oppose it. And I predict to you that it's here to stay and it will not be repealed.